Hi there, welcome to Caffeinated Knitting. My name is Daniela, known as Caffeinated Gert on the interwebs. You can find me over on Ravelry as Caffeinated Gert and also on Instagram. There is a blog page for this podcast. It's www.caffeinatedcraftingpodcast.blogspot.com. I upload the episodes there. I don't do show notes because I'm lazy. Sorry. But if you ever have any kind of question about something I talked about or showed on the podcast, please feel free to send me a message on Ravelry or Instagram. Those are the two places you'll probably get me the fastest. And I am happy to help you any way I can. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about this week. I was kind of a monogamous knitter. Who'd have thunk? Didn't think that would ever happen, but it did. So I spent most of my week working on, and I didn't bring the pattern that I'm actually working off of in here. So let me look it up here so I can show you a picture. I'm working on a test knit for Mina Phillips of Knitting Expat Designs, and she has the Knitting Expat podcast. Speaking of podcasts, while I'm looking this up, I found a couple of new ones, or one's new and one's just new to me. I've recently kind of binge watched some Sock Matician podcasts. I really like him. And then a new one I found that was really interesting, I think it's really interesting, is Tiny Fiber Studio. And I think it's interesting because her whole focus is that she is only going to knit with her hand spun for 2017, so she can be a more, I always forget what exactly the word is, a more conscious spinner. She wants to focus more on being able to spin for a specific project, getting her spinning the way she wants it to look. So I'm finding it really interesting, so check her out. Her name is Bex. Alright, so back to the knitting. I am working on Spring Transitions by Mina Phillips. I'm doing a test knit, and so this is what it looks like. And when it's released, it'll be called Spring Transitions. Super pretty. Mine looks like this because I'm using a rainbow gradient along with this lovely Peter Pettigrew from O Loops. So this is my main neutral color, and then my rainbow gradient, look, I have the box today, is from Dragonfly Fibers. It was a gradient set, and it had six 1 ounce, which was 282 yards, 6 mini skeins in it. Now the pattern calls for 5 mini skeins if you want to knit the pattern the way it's pictured. However, the pattern's also a bit of a recipe, so you can really easily modify the different sections to make the shawl bigger, make the shawl smaller. Use a different amount of stripes for the gradient portion. You can make the lace portion bigger. It's really fun that way. So I can definitely see knitting this again just because of all the variety that I can get out of it. And I love this texture section. I love it so much. So last week when I showed this to you, I was here. There's my dangly bit. I had just finished the neutral section, the very first part that you start with. And so this week I knit all this and all the way up. Got the whole first textured section finished, and I want to show you this. I wish you could feel it. It's so squishy. It is so squishy, and I love this gradient. Check it out. It is. All pretty. I love it. This texture though, it's, oh my gosh, I love it so much. So I added an extra repeat right here. So this one is extra because it called for 5, and so this made it a little bit bigger. And then there's another little garter section in the neutral, and look at me, I'm knitting lace. Look at that. Lace is my downfall, y'all. You just don't know how much I avoid a pattern if it has lace in it. It's just not normally my thing. I find it difficult normally. And even with this, which is easy lace, I have to sit and knit and not watch TV and not do other things and just focus on the knitting. Lace is just hard for me. I don't know why. But this is great because she has the lace written out, but she also has a chart. So either way you like to read your pattern for lace, you're good to go. So that makes it super awesome. It is in my favorite fat squirrel bag. Ta-da! And I'm going to go back to knitting on my lace section so I can finish it today after I get this podcast done. I was going to wait and finish the lace section and get a little further before I podcasted. Oops, sorry, that's my iPad. But we're going out to dinner in a little while, and I don't know, I just decided to go ahead and do it. Rip the Band-Aid off, podcast. I haven't finished my weaving project yet. That's what I'm actually going to do after I finish the lace section. Then I'm going to finish my weaving project, because until I finish this weaving project, I can't start my green along, my big project. And if I don't do my green along weaving project, I don't have leftovers to use for my hats for kiddos. So that's got to get done. And my test knit can be my take with me knitting once I get the lace section done. So that'll be good to go. So while I'm at home, then I will be working on my weaving, hopefully this evening, tomorrow for sure. Now I did take a break from knitting on my project, my test knit yesterday, because the Magical Marled Mystery Knit Along by Stephen West was released, and I was super excited. And so after I got off work yesterday, now on Fridays I only work until 10:30. Now I start work at 5, so I put in 5.5 hours on Fridays. But because we work staggered hours, on Monday and Tuesday we work 9, and then on Tuesday I work 8.5, Wednesday I work 8, and then on Friday I just have those 5.5 hours left. So it's almost like I get a 2.5 day weekend every week, except I have to get up super early and, you know, all that. But anyway, so when I got off work at 10:30 yesterday morning, I wandered over to Poets, one of our awesome local coffee shops. If you ever come through Cookeville and you need some excellent coffee, Poets is excellent. Poets South, there's 2 locations. The main Poets, which has been here for several years, and they opened a Poets South little thing, a smaller building. But that one has a drive-through, so if you're just coming through, you could get yourself some coffee. Anyway, so I went to Poets and hung out with some friends and cast on my, and I don't have the front page for you to show you. Let me see if I have that on my iPad. The Magic Marled Mystery? Oh shoot, now I can't remember what it's called. Let's see, did I download it on here, or did I just print the pages I needed? I must have just printed the pages I needed here. Let me look it on Ravelry for you. Dum-da-dum-da-dum. Patterns. Don't you love it when we just sit here and to look things up and it takes forever? Okay, well here it is. You can get all the information right here. Marled Magic Mystery Shawl Cow by Stephen West. There you go. That's what I cast on yesterday. So it's a mystery knit along. Stephen West always does good ones. And this one is a stash buster, so I'm super excited. And it's a not like a leftover bits and bobs stash buster. So if you're knitting this and you haven't started and finished section 1 and you don't want to be spoiled and you don't want me to show you, then bye. See you later. 'Cause that's about all I have to talk about. I mentioned the green along already. Oh, here. So you don't have to like miss anything. I'll do this first. For the green along, we have prizes. We have, this is the wrong prize. This is for the Neon April. We have this super awesome bag for from SoFlo for the green along, and inside it we have some Neon Now yarn online. No, not Neon Now. It's online, but it's neon yarn to get you started for Neon April. We also have 2 patterns that are donated by Mina Phillips of Knitting Expat Designs, and 2 patterns for my collection. You can choose any of those patterns. So right now we have 5 prizes, and rumor has it there's some more coming. So we will see what shows up. Looking forward to April, we'll have Neon April. And the prize for that is this lovely bag from Whimsy Stitches. There are some lovely knitting needles in here that were donated by a viewer. There are some stitch markers from Teeny Button Studios. And I bought this lovely skein of Lorna's laces that matches the bag. And it's speckledy goodness to complete the prize. So this one's for Neon April, and the kitty cats are for the March green along. So for the green along, you can knit, spin, weave, or crochet. It just has to be green. There's no yardage limit or anything. And just green. I mean, if it's like a tonal where it's like, you know, some white, some green kind of thing, that's fine. But just other than that, just keep it green. So, if you don't want to be spoiled and see my progress on the mystery knit along, then toodles for now. And if you do want to see it, here it is. So I finished section 1 and just barely started section 2. Hold on, I got strings all in all the things. Okay, so here's my section 1. It started off down here, and as you worked it, it turned diagonal, which is super cool. I did what he calls a steady marl. I held one yarn, which in my case was a gradient yarn, steady, but then every 6 rows changed the color for the second strand, because there's 2 strands at all the time. So I started down here and knit myself up here, yeah, and then I've picked up on the side, and now I'm working this way. So we went this way, like up, and now we're coming over. Interesting. Also, we left all these strings on the side, which I need to like tie up or something, on purpose. And evidently we are going to do something super fun with that later, but I have no idea what. So I have like some little ponytail down here. It's just kind of in the way at this point, but I think I'll just tie them in a loose knot, like an overhand knot, and make them kind of tidy. So I am using all the leftover bits and bobs, and I'm using it's kind of like a I'm using kind of like a paint color palette, because I'm just kind of looking at my bag of scraps and I'm like, oh, use this one next, or oh, I'll use this one next. And I'm just going with it. I did use a color. I used green for my first color. Well, it's green and purple. I'm holding these two together. Because I wanted a definite line of where it's going this way. I didn't want it to be too blendy, and I don't know how it would have been, but there's not much green in here. There is a little bit, not much, and so I thought I'll start with green to go that way. I think the only green in here is now the only green in here is like right in here is a little bit, and right here there's a little bit. So I'm super excited about it, and I get to work on it again after I finish the lace section, because this is really not a very portable project, simply because I have to take all of my awesome scraps, and they're in a huge bag. So, you know, unless I want to just carry a huge bag with me all the time, it's not really very portable, logical to take it with me, which is why my test knit will be my take-along project. This is, by the way, toting around in a huge caffeinated knitting bag that was made for us by the super awesome Falula of Stitch Marks the Spot. She makes the super awesome ginormous bags. It was fabric that I designed myself using the logo, and I added the little, so it's caffeinated knitting with Gert and Allie. And this bag always makes me smile. And it's one of my biggest bags, which is why this project's in there. So then because I figure once I get the test knit finished, I might want to take that with me. So if I do, then I'll just put a few balls into the bag and then take it with me. And then I can work on it a little bit while I'm out and about if I need to. If I have the urge. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. Not very much, but it kind of lets you know what I've been up to this week. There has been a lot of knitting. I mean, I have really been knitting hard on that test knit, and I've really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm just in love with that texture section. It's beautiful, and it's fun, and it's squishy, and I can't wait to see what it's like to wear it. I'm going to get this uploaded, and I'm going to finish knitting those lace bits, and then I'm going to finish. I don't think it'll take me very long. There's not much left on the loom, but I'm anxious to get my green along going. I've got, these are my, I'm going to be using soon things. This is going to be for Neon April. That was my prize that I won from Backyard Fiberworks. I'm going to knit this in April. It's going to be a color affection. It's super squishy. It's from Backyard Fiberworks, and it is merino, nylon, and cashmere. And then also for Neon April, it's going to be a weaving project, and I'm going to use this from Nitty Kitty Bags yarn. I love how it blows out. It so blows out the camera because it's so pink. So I have a solid, but then I also have a variegated with a little solid. I'm not sure exactly how that will work. I'm still thinking about that weaving project. But for March, I have minis from Unplanned Peacock. That will be my... should I make them my warp or my weft? So I also have these, which is my, from Unplanned Peacock, which is Amazon. I have 2 skeins of these, and I have all these minis. So somehow these will get used together in a weaving project. Soonish. Soon as I can get this other one finished. I'm not enjoying the Noro as much as I have other projects. I think I'm just a little bored with it, and it's dark and gloomy, and that's probably why it's still on the loom. But anyway, let me put these back in my little soon to be used bag. Keep it out of sight, out of temptation of tiger. I might as well put the green ones back in there too, just in case. I don't know that I'll get to those today. Alright, so really for real, I'll see you guys later. Toodles.